Mo Money, Day 1. This course is designed to help you connect with a higher version of yourself, existing on a higher lifeline. This version of you, riding the wave of fortune, already exists in the alternative space. And this course will help you connect with this higher version of yourself via your thought quality, action, and frequency. You can connect with more of what you intend to have, and you will. But first, let's talk about what money is exactly. Money is a positive product of your energy accumulated into one single goal. You work a 40-hour work week, you get a paycheck. You make something that someone wants to buy, and you sell it. You collect the price of the sale. Money is an attribute and recognition of your thought energy and action towards an endeavor or objective. Vadim Zeland states that money is merely a product created on the way to a goal. This is why the concepts in Reality Transurfing have helped me to make more money while doing less. I have learned to consolidate my energy, using it for what benefits me financially. Also, a firm understanding of outer intention has assisted me considerably in consolidating energy. Most valuably, however, using the fuel my heart and mind generate to propel me into future frames has drastically improved my trajectory to higher lifelines, connecting me with more of what I want. Today we will discuss why connecting with what you need to in order to fulfill a higher order is easier than you think, and why debt, unemployment, or more going out than coming in financially is actually a good thing. These 2 points will set you up for our next course, and so on and so forth. After these 2 points, we will discuss the homework assignment and your declarations for the next week. It is in our next lesson that we will specifically address what it is you want or what it is you can do to make more money. The questions today are to prep you for diving into this next subject more deeply. Keep this question in the back of your mind, however, if you do not already know. Okay, so step 1. You've already got this knowledge inside of you. Manifestation versus materialization. Manifestation is trying to use the power of thoughts to create something. Materialization is uniting thought energy and action to transport yourself to the lifeline where your intention materializes, or it can materialize on the lifeline you are currently on. Sometimes we must elevate to a track where the intention exists. Sometimes it is on our current life track and simply takes action. You are already materializing every waking second of every day. Now you are going to learn to materialize more and better. So let me break it down for you from my perspective. I know that the term manifestation is really popular and trendy these days, but why aren't people seeing results with it? That's because, in my opinion, it doesn't work. From a transurfing perspective, when I hear the term manifestation, the first thought that comes to mind is inner intention. It is a person trying to will something onto their current lifeline, trying to use ego or force or striving to make something happen. Materialization is you as a transurfer acknowledging that what it is you intend to have already exists on another lifeline. It is now about moving yourself to this other lifeline so you can have what it is you intend to have. Once you have sort of acknowledged accountability for moving yourself to your intention, this removes all the ambiguity or the doubt or the question, will I ever get what it is that I want? This is the really cool part about transurfing. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how effective you can be in moving yourself to this version of reality and how you can start to harvest outer intention and use your meta power and energy fused with outer intention to get yourself more efficiently to this version of reality where the presence of what it is you want exists. This is materialization. This is you taking the bull by the horns and moving yourself to the lifeline where what it is you want exists more abundantly. It is awesome. Okay, so a quick question for you before we move on. What is one big thing that you have already materialized so far? Again, a really cool part of reality transurfing. You realize that you've already been doing this. Everything that you have now is a product of you moving to a lifeline where the presence of it already existed. So now it's about learning to do this in higher ways. So think about what it is you have and how you have gained these things. With reality transurfing concepts, you can now fuse together the knowledge you already have inside of you, the knowledge you already obtain, the power you already obtain to get more of what it is that you want. So I am going to present to you a small exercise for the next week. This is something that I don't do every single day, but when I do it, I have a lot of fun with it. And it puts me back in connection with my power to materialize and to also acknowledge when outer intention is coming in my direction to help me materialize my intention. So what I do when I am getting ready to take my live stroll in the morning is I set the intention to connect with something small. I could say something along the lines of, I want to see a coin appear this morning, or I would like to meet a new person, make a new friend, or I want to see some dogs that I'm going to enjoy while I'm out on my walk, or I'm going to see a guiding sign that is going to help me maybe generate a new idea. So I set this intention softly. I don't hold on to it while I'm taking my live stroll. I set the intention before I begin, and then I back off of it. And I allow my world to present to me an opportunity for me to realize the very intention. It's actually quite simple. And when I do this, I am reminded of how my world almost always fulfills my order. Learning to set intentions and then backing away from the intention so you aren't loading that intention up with a bunch of importance and excess potential. And at the same time, tuning in to outer intention to help you materialize your intention is like a 1-2 punch. It's a powerful combination that you can build upon to help you achieve higher and more gains. So I'm going to challenge you to start to recognize and call to attention the difference between inner and outer intention gains. Again, it's practices such as these that reconnect us to a power that we already have within. It's already housed within. It's about calling your attention to what it is that you want to see and then moving about your reality so you can materialize your intention without having to use inner intention. Okay, now on to resonating frequency. You can only have what you resonate with. Maybe you do not have all the money you desire now because you are not yet resonating with that amount of money. Example, lottery winners that lose their winnings. They weren't resonating with that level of wealth, so it fell through their fingers. You must start small and work yourself up. Think of a time when you had less than you have now. What changed? Your frequency did. A side note for the entrepreneurs taking this course, or if you are about to start a business, only take loans if you already have at least that amount in combined assets. This was a tip given to me by someone with extreme wealth. About 15 years ago, when I was just starting my primary business, I was in need of capital, but I didn't have much. And I asked the advice of someone that I knew would steer me in the right direction. He told me that if I were ready for a loan in the amount that I was asking, that I would already have that amount of money in combined assets. And I have to say, I was disappointed at the time, and I didn't quite understand what he was talking about. But later, as I started to understand frequency and matching frequency to what it is that you intend to have, it started to become very clear to me. As you resonate with the frequency of money more, the more of it you will have. But if you aren't resonating with that level of money yet, it will simply fall through your fingers. So anyone coming to me for one-on-one training with the transurfing techniques, primarily people that are looking to grow their businesses, I relay the same advice. Do not take loans if you have not yet amassed that amount of money in combined assets. Now, this is just one of my beliefs that I have adhered to, but please remember, as with all the information given in this course, there is truly evidence to support all theories. So if you're about ready to start a business and you need capital to get yourself going, and you feel as though it's the right thing to do, listen to that inner voice before you take any advice from anybody else. Okay, now we are ready to tackle a big one: limiting beliefs. So it is your belief system that is keeping you from what it is that you want, or having more of what it is that you want. For those of you that watch my videos, you're probably familiar with what I'm going to talk about next, and that is the box of limiting beliefs. So how I like to see it is this. You exist with an imaginary box around you. You are within the box, and the walls of the box are the extent of your belief system. It is as far as your belief system will take you. And everything that is inside of your box, all of the things that you have in your life, are in line with your beliefs. So you can't have more now if it exists outside of your belief system. You can, however, expand your belief system, the walls of the box, to incorporate more and higher things. If you want something major in life in a new way, you will need to start working to change the beliefs that kept you from having it in the past. So the limits of your belief system has brought you to this point. Now it is time to expand your beliefs. Expanding your beliefs, what you are capable of, what you can have, and what is available to you. This will propel you into a space where you can have more of it. So the main idea here is to start feeling the world as limitless, to connect with the alternative space. For me personally, this is how I eradicated poverty mentality from my life. I not only expanded the walls of my belief system, I dissolved the walls of my belief system. And now my belief system expands into the alternative space, which I feel as limitless. My belief system is fluid. There are no walls. It is constantly expanding and therefore incorporating more and more of what it is that I intend to have. So before you start your journey onto the path of higher wealth, it is time to leave some baggage behind. The ritual that I am about to suggest is just that. A ritual. Now, you can get rid of a lot of baggage all at once, but limiting beliefs are kind of funny. They really do pop up when you least expect it. So look at it like this. You are going to do a deep clean, and after that, it is simply about maintenance. Honestly, now it's hard for me to call to mind limiting beliefs that are holding me back. I really only participate in this burn once a year, which some of you may have seen on the Facebook group. It is done January 1st, or rather December 31st. I gather up whatever beliefs I've collected and I burn them in my fireplace on New Year's Eve. This is an extremely effective practice for me, because I'm a visual person, and when I see something burning in a fire, such as words that were previously in my mind telling me that I wasn't capable, or I didn't have the skills, or there's not enough time, whatever belief that lived in my mind, once I pull it out and I actually see it being burned in my physical reality, anytime this belief pops up, I can recall that visual, and it completely stops that belief in its tracks. So I am a big believer in doing things in physical reality rather than just having some thought process about it floating around in your mind. It's really great to acknowledge the limiting beliefs, but it's even better to actually watch them burn. So I am going to lead you through this process. It's actually very, very simple, but you collecting the beliefs is going to be the challenge, because you're going to have to really look at what your mind has been doing. And this can be quite eye-opening. The accountability that you will connect with as a result of doing this exercise is going to be extremely helpful in you connecting with some higher paths of wealth. So the first step is to acknowledge the beliefs that have been holding you back. So I'll give you a few examples here. I don't have the time to do something new. I don't feel I have any options. Those things are for other people, not for me. I don't have the energy. So what each one of these beliefs actually are is a small theory. So for those of you that took Reality 2.0, each theory is simply a collection of information and evidence that has been gathered from your external environment. So theories are kind of like snowballs. They start off small, maybe just a small piece of information that gains momentum in your mind. And sure enough, over time, it starts to limit you and become one of the walls of your belief system. So calling out these beliefs now, no matter how small, no matter how big, is absolutely the first step in eradicating them. If you accept beliefs like this, you will continue to have issues with money. So now it's time to get rid of the limiting beliefs, doubts holding you back, or old patterns of thinking that are no longer serving you. What do you need to burn before you start this journey? So here is the actual practice. You are going to write out as many limiting beliefs as you can call to your mind, on a piece of paper. Each belief on a single piece of paper. So I like to take a piece of printer paper and cut it into like 10 strips and write each belief on each small strip of paper. After I've collected all of my beliefs, I sit somewhere quiet with myself for a while, and I keep the beliefs on my left side, taking one at a time, reading the belief, holding the belief in my hand, thanking the belief for the purpose that it has served in my reality, and simply stating to the belief that it is no longer needed. It is time to move forward. So I move through each belief in the same manner. Some get a little more time for contemplation and saying goodbye, and then I move them one by one over to the right side of my body. After I've done this with each belief, I pick them all up and I go and I take them to a fire and I throw them in one by one and watch them burn. After this ritual in my life, if one of the beliefs pops back up, which it probably will, I say hello to the belief and I acknowledge it and I say, I burned you. You are no longer welcome in my layer of reality. This allows me to really just move forward. The belief doesn't snowball and do any damage or cause any problems to my progress forward and my trajectory to those higher lifelines. I invite anyone who is challenged by this ritual to lean on the Facebook group for any support or questions. A lot of people in the transurfing community have participated in this burning ritual, and I definitely don't want you to feel as though you are alone moving forward. It sounds like a very easy exercise, but when you get into it, Some people have seen that it can actually be quite heavy. This is going into the depths of your belief structure and really pulling some weeds out by the roots. It can be a little bit upsetting and it can be a little bit intense. So definitely lean on the exclusive Facebook group for any support or questions if you have them. Now we will move on to step 2. Debt, unemployment, and the ebb and flow. I am going to explain why you not having what you want right now, being in debt, or even being unemployed right now or in the future is actually a positive. I know, crazy, right? Okay, so debt. First of all, credit is extended to you as a gesture based on a belief about your future earning potential. Never have negative thoughts about your debt status after the fact. Simply view your debt as dollars you have yet earned, money that exists waiting for you to collect it. Do not let debt stop you from feeling as though you are prosperous. Remember your mirror. We will get more into the mirror later. Debt, however, can keep you connected to pendulums in an unhealthy manner. So in addition to creating money, we also want to create freedom because that is why most people want money in the first place. So set the intention to stop borrowing until you have a positive cash flow. Unemployment. Unemployment is your world clearing the way for you to connect with something greater, for you to connect with the higher version of yourself. Unemployment is the tide going out. Now getting to the ebb and flow. Much is to be said about the flow in reality transurfing, but what about the ebb? Unemployment, just as much as debt, is more going out than you have coming in. This is simply the tide going out. Use these times to create new ideas, replenish your energy levels, or consider switching boats. This is a pause in your professional course, providing you with an opportunity to rethink and rework things. Oftentimes, we do not partake in these sorts of activities when we are busy working. So, has your tide gone out? Remember, your world is always working for you. Living with little or more going out than coming in can teach you many things about what you truly need to survive. So this course was actually inspired by somebody in the International Transurfing Institute community. He contacted me privately right around the holidays saying that he was in a very serious situation. He had just lost a lawsuit professionally, which had wiped him out financially. He also lost his job and had no means of income. He was back on his rent. He didn't have any money for the holidays, and he was absolutely panicked. He asked me what he should do to make some deals work for him at that time of the year, which of course is extremely challenging. I told him that he was absolutely acting out of panic and with inner intention, and that he should take the next couple of weeks to consider switching professions, which he did. It was in this time that he realized an entirely new path in front of him, and he completely turned away from what he had done his entire adult life. What happened as a result of him switching boats while the tide had gone out was a higher path of wealth that he hadn't even considered for himself. Oftentimes, we are stuck because we are focusing on what we don't want to see happen. I don't want to be broke during the holidays. I don't want to struggle with employment any longer, etc. Now it is time to acknowledge this sort of thinking. The gentleman in my example had been overtly focused on what he did not want to see happen in his reality. As soon as I helped him gain some perspective, zoom out, this is an opportunity to switch boats. That's exactly what he did. So, what have you been telling yourself that you don't want? And what thoughts could you replace with that sort of thinking? Is it time for you to switch directions? Is it time for you to truly give up on something that is no longer working for you? Or is it time to take what you are currently doing and rework it in a way so you can see more success with it? Also, oftentimes we are limited by our past programming about something as well. This can be negative associations, bad experiences, poor examples, like maybe your parents weren't so good with money like mine weren't. These sorts of things create beliefs about what it is we are struggling with having from coming into our reality. So I'm going to ask you to think of 5 beliefs that are adverse thoughts about money, wealth, and having money. I'll give you a few of my own personal examples, things that I used to struggle with. Coming from a very poverty level background growing up, the adults around me had created belief systems to convince themselves that the way that they were living was the right way and having wealth was the wrong way. I was told that people that had money were doing immoral things to get the money, or in order to have, you had to take away from someone else. I was also told that having money meant you were obsessed with keeping it, and wealthy people only lived a reality where one thing was important: keeping money. So I took these faulty beliefs into my adulthood. And even though I knew that I wanted to access higher paths of wealth, I had this faulty belief system that was holding me back without me even realizing it. These thoughts were deeply embedded in my mind. And even though I didn't necessarily think them, they were there, and it was sort of like they were holding me back from connecting with that higher version of myself. Getting back to the beginning of this lesson, when I was speaking about frequency, it was thoughts such as these that kept me resonating at a low frequency. And I had a battle ensuing inside of me. On one hand, I knew that I wanted to be someone, and I knew that I actually did have the skills to connect with higher paths of wealth. But the thoughts that were adverse to money, wealth, and having money needed to be addressed. Acknowledging which thoughts you are holding that are adverse thoughts about money, wealth, and having money, combined with the limiting belief burning ritual, you will see very quickly how your mind has been the thing that has been holding you back from the higher paths of wealth. So I'm going to speak briefly on poverty mentality if you are struggling with poverty mentality right now, and what I did exactly to eradicate this syndrome, if you want to call it that, and allow myself to be liberated, moving upward to the higher version of myself and higher lifelines where the presence of what I want more abundantly exists. So again, acknowledging what beliefs are adverse to money, as well as limiting beliefs. This is my number one trick to moving forward, is truly staring this stuff down and dealing with it so you can free yourself to move forward. A lot of this is done via a perspective shift, shifting away again from what you don't want, what you don't like, what isn't working, what could go wrong, and shifting towards what you want, what is working, what is going right, what you can do. This was the key that freed me from poverty mentality. My parents made a number of really serious financial moves in their lives when I was growing up that put us into a very deep and dark hole. They filed for bankruptcy twice. We had 2 homes foreclosed on. They were constantly in debt. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Cars were repossessed. We never had enough money to do anything. And as I moved forward into my adulthood, I continued to maintain a focus on all of those things that had gone wrong. This kept me stuck, and I realized the value after finding Reality Transurfing in shifting my focus away from anything that I did not want to see happen to what I did want to see happen. Now, we aren't going to cure your poverty mentality in one lesson of a single course, but I promise for anyone out there that is struggling with low worth when it comes to having money, poverty mentality, confusion about how to make money or keep money, any of the ailments that you are challenged by that are holding you back from higher paths of wealth are resolved within these steps. I came from a very serious situation financially and can honestly say that I have moved on, and so can you. So with that, I am going to move on to the homework for week 1 and the declarations for week 1. Let's start with the declarations. The PDF is included in the course, so I would definitely recommend printing these out and reading them once a day. Read the declarations for week 1 once a day until you get to week 2, and then take this sheet down and replace it with the week 2 declarations, and so on and so forth. It's best to repeat the declarations out loud. I feel that the frequency of your voice actually repeating these words is the most powerful. And then move on to the homework for week 1. So, the declarations for week 1. All the wealth that I will collect from this day on starts with me. I am the bridge between the alternative space and my physical reality. What I choose to focus on becomes my reality. I never doubt this. My world only provides me with what I need at this time, sometimes more, but never less. My beliefs create my reality. I now choose to believe in the unlimited nature of the alternative space. My world is always working for me and towards me. Everything I do from this day on increases my value and worth. I trust my world to give exactly what I need at the perfect time and in the perfect way. My debts are energetic credits for what I will soon create and materialize. I deserve wealth. So now on to the homework for week 1. Remember your burning ritual. That is your primary homework for week 1. But also answer these questions on the PDF provided. What has already materialized in your current reality that you feel is a personal achievement? List as many as you possibly can. What have I learned about being in survival mode? In what ways has living in survival mode made me stronger? What skills did I develop? Also, remember to take a look at the PDF provided, money attracting and repelling qualities. I would suggest looking at this at least once a day. Pin it up in your office or on your fridge and really start resonating with the information on that sheet. It is a really powerful way in acknowledging how you are either attracting or repelling money from your reality. See you in week 2.